I am making fursuit eyes for the very first time, and in terms of construction and color, I'm actually really happy with how they turned out, especially considering I've never done anything like this before. However, looking at this picture, you might be able to tell that the eyes are just a little big for the head base. So this will happen. Listen, Lena, this will happen, all right? I watched tons and tons of tutorials on how to make follow me fursuit eyes, and the most common piece of advice that I found was when you go to pattern your eyes, make them just a little bigger than you think, because once you put fur on the foam head base, the eyes are going to shrink a little. So I went a little overboard, obviously, and these eyes are just way too big. So come with me as I struggle through making follow me fursuit eyes for the first time. So to begin with, I drafted my eye. I decided I want to do the little star shines as well on this one. So I just freehanded one eye and then flipped it and traced it, and that gave me, symmetrical eyes. And then after that, I traced it a bunch more times to give me a bunch of different templates to use once it gets to the painting portion. So the eyes themselves are made of this mesh material that I got off Amazon. It was like the first or second listing when I searched for fursuit eye mesh. I'm happy with how the finished product turned out. I definitely like to try buckram in the future to see what that material is like working with. But, for this purpose, for being my first time, I think it worked just fine. The two major complaints I have about this material: one, the paint does not take to it very well, so I just had to put tons and tons of coats to get an even color. And then the second issue I have is because the holes are so big, and that's what the top said, it's easy to lose detail when you go to paint your design on it. So here I'm just putting my first few base layers of paint down on the mesh. The reason I'm putting the white down is it's going to make the colors show better instead of just trying to paint over the black mesh. Here I'm just putting a bunch more coats of paint so we got a nice even color across it. While I'm waiting for the paint to dry, I move over to working on the sclera, and for this I'm using 2mm Eva foam. I got off Amazon as well. I use scissors and an X-Acto knife. Honestly, I think the way to go here is definitely the X-Acto knife. It's just a matter of practicing with the tools till you can get a really nice straight line. I can't really do anything straight, so yeah. Once I had the sclera cut out, I then cut out 2 strips of 1-inch pieces of foam, and these are going to go around the eyes to make the wall. This will create that optical illusion that the eyes are following you as you move your head. Once I've cut out the strips, I use hot glue to glue the walls on. Here's more hot gluing, and you can really see those sclera shapes coming together. So once they're all hot glued, you can put them over your template, and we can kind of get a better idea of what the eyes are going to look like. I think they're looking good. So now we're back to painting, and I've got this really cool metallic green color that I'm just making a few coats along the top. Once the metallic green is down, I then got this cool chameleon green color for the next green. You can see this really pretty forest green that comes out when the two colors are combined in the center. Once I'm done with my chameleon green coats, then I'm using this yellow color on the bottom. You can see that it creates this sort of ombre effect where you get this new color depending on how much overlap there is between the different colors. It's really cool. So once the pretty colors are all done, I then pull out my templates. I should have actually used this to put the pretty colors down, but I'll do that next time. So anyways, here I'm using the template to create the pupils, so we're just doing a couple coats of black paint here. Once the pupils are dry, I then use a small paintbrush to paint a dark shadow along the top of the pupil. I'm using a third dark green color here. Along the bottom of the pupil, you'll see I have this white shadow, and this is going to be where the light is hitting the bottom of the pupil, essentially. And then once that's all dry, I then use my templates to add the little star shines. And this is a great example of what I was referring to when I said the mesh is really big, so you tend to lose some detail in your designs. I actually had to extend the points of the star and then also the points of the triangle shines. The detail was getting lost, and so the shapes were not translating well. They were becoming very rounded, and it didn't look like what the design was. So once all the painting is done, even though this is acrylic paint and it should be waterproof, I go over it all with this crystal clear acrylic coating spray just to give it another layer of protection in case the eyes get wet so they won't run. So once the coating is dry, I'm lining up the sclera over the eyes to make sure it looks good, and I think it looks great. These look really cute. I love those star shines. They're so freaking cute. Here I'm gluing the mesh to the scleras and then cutting them out, and we're pretty much done here. So now the eyes are ready to be installed into your head base. Here you can see I totally messed up and cut way too deep on one of the sides, but this is my first one, so it's a learning experience, and it was too late before I realized my terrible error. I think these eyes are still a little big. If I did it again, I would make them a little smaller. The nice thing with this happy little mistake, having the eyes a little too close together, is my vision in this is great. I can see really easily. Anyways, thanks for coming to my TED Talk on making Follow Me Fursuit eyes for the first time. Bye!